Hey guys.
Welcome to VidCon. Have you been here already, or are you just getting here?
I just arrived at VidCon like an hour ago.
We literally just shook hands for a hot second. You're here.
Yeah, feels great. I love VidCon.
Well, happy belated Father's Day as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
It's like
there's more kids in the audience than parents.
There.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that kid.
Yeah. Rumors you like unplugged a little bit for holiday for Father's Day. Is that how important is that any day to unplug?
That's a total rumor.
Rumor?
Total rumor. No, I was making videos that the YouTube is very angry at me about during Father's Day. I don't know why everybody got so pissed off about that video.
Why do they get so mad?
Thank you.
Do you ever stop yourself and go, hold on one second, let me just set this stuff down and take a second to clear your head?
And I try to be super transparent with the audience, with you guys about that stuff. Although it gets a little bit boring to like keep repeating why I'm taking days off, but I definitely, for the first like year and a half of the vlog, not only did I not miss a day, I would never miss my 8 a.m. upload. You guys remember those good old days? I would never miss an upload time, but it really was taxing. It was like expensive on the soul. And then I stopped and I got super sad because I missed vlogging. And now it's much more like you have to stop looking at the views and stop looking at the thumbs up. And instead, just like I do it when it feels appropriate. So I usually don't do it on the weekends. I got the kiddos. And I try not to do it when like Candace is totally freaking out because I want her to feel special all the time. But I try to strike a much more responsible balance.
It seems like vlogging can be kind of a lonely, single thing. I mean, how important is it to be in front of these guys finally, coming to events like this and getting some of that actual in-person energy?
It's super weird when like your therapist and your best friend and your lover is a camera lens. It gets a little bit like, it gets uncomfortable. But I will say, when I stopped vlogging, I felt like I no longer had an audience to talk to. Not to sound too crazy, but there is something very comforting about knowing that like I could share ideas and then hear back from people every day, and I miss that when I wasn't making videos.
Now, you've said in a past video that you can just build this from instinct. Your vlogs are from your gut. Do you still feel that way, or is there any kind of, does this being strategic ever seep in there? Because now we've got so much to do and so many ways that like you got to put your vlogs out there and get noticed for. And people are a little more strategic in that. Or you still just go from what you feel is right?
I mean, my vlogs are always made the same way. And I don't know how you guys make videos, but judging by the sheer amount of cameras in this audience, it looks like there's a lot of YouTubers out there. We need you guys. Keep making videos. But my methodology was always the same. I'd always have like a mission. I'm going to make a video today. And then I'd try to find an idea. Like, what's my idea today? Is it going to see Candace so we can hang out and talk about what she's up to? Is it about testing out a new drone? Is it about running into a friend? And then I try to really build a real story about that experience, about that very simple thing. And that's it. And every time I try to make a vlog something more than that, it wouldn't make any sense. And every time I would omit that, it would just feel like a sort of diary with no beginning, no middle, and no end. So for me, it was about keeping it simple and sort of adhering to that very kind of primitive principle.
Yeah. What was the moment back when you kind of started doing this that you realized you had a voice that people were going to listen to?
There was this, I feel like you guys can't see me. There was this moment when I started vlogging, and I didn't look at my, did I mess that up? Camera guy's good. There was this moment, I'll sit on pillows, and I started vlogging for the first time, and every comment was like, what is this? He's not a vlogger, why is he vlogging? And then it was like, why do these vlogs look like this? This isn't what a vlog is. And I found that like very discouraging, so I would just upload and then never look at my videos, ignore the comments, ignore everything. And then I remember like a month later, I noticed my view counts all went from like 150,000 to like double that. And I was like, wait a minute. And that was when the comments really started to shift to, I think people started to really understand it and like it. And that was a big pivot point for me. It was like, I felt like maybe I found my voice and the audience was more willing to listen to a voice that was unlike something that they had heard before.
Yeah. we've interviewed a lot of people, a lot of creators that come into Instant, and you've been mentioned many times on being inspired. They are inspired by you and the style and how you do it. What is it do you think that like really captures everyone's attention? What is your style? What is that?
Well, I mean, look, I
thing?
think that to all aspiring YouTubers, I don't think that there's any one style or tone or film or camera or anything like that that matters. I think it's about you and the audience that you and your personality attracts. You know, like, I'm in the world of YouTube and vlogging, I'm like a super old man. I was like 34 when I started vlogging, and I had spent a decade of my career as a filmmaker, like literally making movies and telling stories. So I think that what maybe separated me a little bit from other creators when I started is that I had that to lean on. And a lot of the younger creators that I know and I look to for advice and they don't have that experience to lean on. Instead, they're purely looking at what other individuals are doing and trying to find their own voice. So I think that was a little bit of a differentiator, just the fact that I brought a great deal of experience as somebody who made videos to the craft that is vlogging.
What is it that scared you then, and what kind of fears do you have now and sharing pretty much everything about you?
Well, I don't share everything about me. I do. I share a lot, but there's definitely stuff like, and I'm honest about this in the videos, but I hide, I mask, I don't share a lot of the bad stuff. And I think that's because I try to be honest with that. I don't live anywhere near a perfect life. I live a great life, but not a perfect one. And I think it's because just like people can empathize and look to happiness when they see it on screens, they can also look to struggle and empathize with that on screen. I think there's a place for it. But my vlogs, for me, were a way of expressing the experiences that I wanted to share. And I don't always want to share like the crappy parts, like when I'm really down and something's upset. Like I don't always want to put that out there. So I do think that my vlogs are really only seeing the good stuff that is my life, but I hope my audience knows that, just like everybody else, there are very real things that I struggle with. Yeah. Your question, though, was what was the bad stuff that I've experienced.
What scared you when you started to what scares you now?
Privacy scares the crap out of me. There's this really sharp, double-sided knife that is being a YouTuber, which is like, the more you share, the more incredible people you get to have in your life. And I mean that. I think YouTubers say that as like fluff, saying like, I love you guys, and who knows what that means. But I think what's beneath all of that is like, there is an appreciation for your audience. Like I literally, when I don't upload, and I mean this, like I miss the audience. I miss the engagement. I miss the feedback and the dialogues we get to have. But the other side of that knife, which is just as sharp, is like, there's a lot of weirdos out there, and there's a lot of scary stuff out there, and there's a lot of misinterpretation out there, and there's a lot of people that think differently and act differently than you would expect. And letting those creepoids into your life is a scary thing.
Do you think, would you consider what you do, a vlog, and anybody here too, daily vlogging, like it's taking a risk? It's taking a big risk.
I mean, look, I think anything you do is taking a risk, and I think that, you know, I think musicians take risks when they pour their emotion into songs, and I think that artists take risks when they put their lives on canvas. So, no, I mean, I think it's a risk, but I don't think it's any other. I don't think it's any greater risk than any sort of art form that involves putting yourself out there.
Yeah. Do you think do you ever catch yourself thinking how odd it is to be posting stuff that's very important, but also there's a creative angle to it? It has to be edited together so people like watch it through? Is that a...
Yeah, I mean, my barometer is always, I watch it back and I'm like, is this boring or is this interesting? And if it's interesting, I hit publish. And if it's boring, I'm like, well, how badly do I need the... No, I'm just kidding. If it's boring, I don't publish it. But I try to make stuff that I think is interesting. That way, no matter how much hate I get in the comments, I'm like, well, I thought it was good.
Is there someone who are you the only one who watches, or do you have like a preview screening and get something?
I mean, I will admit, so at Beme we have like a really smart guy who's in charge of the newsroom, like figuring out what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. And sometimes I'll just send him videos and be like, do I come across as a total jerk in this? And he'll come back and he'll be like, yes, you do. Or he'll come back and he'll be like, no, this is great. But sometimes it's hard to imagine how other people are going to interpret your sharing of ideas. So having someone to bounce it off of is helpful. But for me, it's very seldom the case.
Yeah. We're getting to a place where there's a lot on YouTube now, a lot.
There's a lot.
What are we seeing too much of?
What are we seeing too much of? I mean, the biggest gripe that I have with what I see on YouTube is aspiring creators, that is people who want to have careers on YouTube, which is a noble thing because being on YouTube is awesome. But instead of sort of asking themselves, like, what do you want to make and why do I want to be on YouTube, they sort of look to other creators.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of sort of copycatting. And the reason why that bums me out is because I don't think that that's a path to success. I think if you make something that's uniquely yours, even if it sucks, it's yours. I look at my first videos, they sucked, they were terrible. You guys would never come sit in this audience if you saw my early work. It's terrible. There's no way, it was so bad. But it was only, I was trying to do something that was mine, and it took me a while to find my voice, and that's the one thing that I encourage all aspiring creators to do is like focus on what matters to you and try to ignore everybody else. Because even if you do what somebody else does really good, chances are you're not going to find your place because it's already occupied by that other creator.
Yeah, we hear that a lot. Every time you ask somebody what's a tip for somebody starting, it's be authentic, be yourself, and you're like, oh, that sounds so cliche, but it's
the
literally
reality.
what you have to do.
It's the reality. I think people tune into YouTube to be a part of somebody's life that they're interested in, and if that person is not genuine, it can be transparent.
Mm-hmm. Do you think creators are challenging themselves enough these days?
I think some are, yeah. I think that some of the smartest creating in all of the media, like in all of this industry, is taking place right here on YouTube. I think TV is looking to YouTube to be like, what should we do to keep ourselves from becoming irrelevant? I think that YouTube is like the sharp tip of the spear of creativity in the world of media.
Yeah. You can clap, it's all right.
Thank you, lone clapper.
This may seem like a generic question, but how important was failure when you were starting and getting, and how important is it now still?
Failure
creating?
is everything. Failure is what keeps you humble. Failure is what keeps you honest. It's like success never feels as good as failure feels bad. You know, like your first kiss will never impact you as much as the first time you get dumped. And I think that's true in business and that's true in life. And failure is scary. And every time I've failed, which is all the time, I don't want to get back up. You have to sort of find it in yourself and realize that what are your options, what are your alternatives, pull your pants back up and stand up and go back to work.
I feel like we're entering a time where we're seeing I don't want to call it a battle, but the merging of mainstream and digital are starting to cross paths a lot more than they used to. Is it a bad word to see some of the digital people start stepping up and start stepping out, or?
No, I mean, look, I have a much more cynical perspective than that, which is that I think sort of the mainstream world, the traditional media world, is feeling desperate, and they know that they're getting their butts kicked by all of you YouTubers, and they're scared, and they should be. You look at individual YouTubers, the top creators have bigger audiences than the top television shows. And the difference is it's an individual creating the content who also owns the distribution because it's on their own channel.
Right.
And I think it's a very scary place for traditional media. So I don't think the merger is seamless. I wish it were. I think what YouTube's trying to do with Red is an interesting attempt to sort of bridge traditional and digital. But I don't know that we're any closer to finding a happy medium. I think it's going to require something that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, I feel like it's a battle of for creators feeling like they're being used for what they've created and the audience they have versus being celebrated and wanting to,
something like that. Well, except for YouTube's the exception.
Yeah.
YouTube is the exception.
Yeah.
Where are these questions? Are these all your questions?
These are all my questions.
These are really good questions.
Thank you.
Good questions. Does anybody care? Are you guys on your cell phones, or is this interesting? It's interesting? Thank you.
You
nice shirt.
Yeah, you had made a vlog, especially back. This is recently when the restriction mode situation happened. You had something to say about it. Do you feel like YouTube is evolving well now as a platform, as far as we've come?
I mean, YouTube evolving is a really multifaceted thing. I think you've got the software, the actual site itself, and the way it works, and what we have to interact with evolving. I think that's getting better. I think there's the cultural aspect, which is getting better. Societal, it's getting better. But, I mean, the thing that I have gripes with and still have gripes with is YouTube's communication with creators. And given there's millions of creators out there, but even so, like, if you're someone who makes a living on and busts your hump to make content for YouTube, I think there needs to be better and more effective means of communication. So when like the restricted mode and adpocalypse took place, creators knew what was going on instead of a widespread panic. Because that kind of panic drives creators, and it did drive creators to competing platforms, which I think is dangerous to YouTube.
Is it crazy that we have a platform like this, like YouTube, we have other ones as well, that it's tough you can't have a rating system. It's not like television where you know
it's tough,
coming
and I
up
empathize with YouTube. Like, they're trying to be a profitable business, but a lot of the videos are unsavory, and then like it's a difficult space. I empathize with YouTube. I don't fault them for the things that they've done.
Yeah, it's a fight for freedom of expression versus...
And I think like you have a right to say whatever you want to say. You have a right to publish whatever you want to publish, but YouTube has no obligation to pay you for what you're publishing. And I think that third one is a very important distinction. Like, it's okay to have a lot of profanity. It's okay to have violence. It's okay to share opinions no matter how fringe they are. But understand that if you push it too far, Taco Bell is not going to want their commercial in front of it. And YouTube has every right to pull that back.
Yeah. What kind of content do you like to take in? You know, you have your own content. You have your, you're watching all the current events, and that you're really well spoken on everything that's going on. But what do you like to absorb?
I mean, on YouTube, there's a couple creators that I love. My favorite YouTuber has got to be David Dobrik. I mean, let me just indulge and talk about David Dobrik for a minute. David Dobrik invented a genre on YouTube. Then what he does is completely new, and no one did that before him, period. And that's what I mean by finding your voice. Remember the first time I saw Dobrik's vlog, I was like, this is nonsense, and it's amazing. And no one does that. Now that's becoming a thing. These series of just relentless, hilarious non sequiturs. That is brilliant. And he brought that to the medium. I love what Phil DeFranco does. Even though he gives me a hard time all the time. Phil, stop putting me in your damn thumbnails. But I think that he's an incredibly smart individual who has a wonderful talk show, and he covers important things, and not just important things, but things that are important to us, to the people who consume on YouTube. And I think that's making an important precedent. But I'm an equal opportunity consumer on YouTube. Like, I love everything from the silly viral videos to anything about fidget spinners. Pretty much anything about fidget spinners I'll watch. That's not true.
Looking down the road, are you happy to see where some of these platforms are going with higher quality content, paid content, subscription service kind of stuff?
I don't know. I have mixed emotions about it. I think that it's wonderful that it's taking place, but I think that there's a homogenization happening, which is everything's starting to look the same. Remember when, if you wanted to see really amazing looking TV shows, you had to go to HBO, and all of a sudden Netflix started making these expensive TV shows, and all of a sudden Amazon, where I buy my toilet paper and watches, makes the best TV shows, and now Hulu has an incredible TV show, and now YouTube's stepping it up with all this stuff. Everything's starting to look the same. I just don't know if that's good or that's bad. I just know that I don't want to have to spend another $10.99 a month on yet another service.
Right.
So much. It adds up, man.
Adds up. And where do we see your voice going from here?
Me? I don't know. I never know. I mean, I'm investing a lot of my time and energy right now, less on my personal channel and more on what we're doing at Beme, because that's fun and exciting and new. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something I'm looking forward to. But I also really want to get back into YouTube in a much more heavy-handed way. I just don't know what it is. I love vlogging and I want to keep doing that, but I also want to do something new on the platform. And when I look around on YouTube, I see a big opportunity because I think that there's a lot of interesting things, but there hasn't been a real push to reinvent what the platform's capable of. And I would love to, in some even tiny way, be a part of whatever's coming next on the platform.
Yeah, I think we see swings.
That's right. There's ebb and flow on YouTube.
And then there's and vlogging. That's what you're saying.
Incredible.
So hopefully there's I can hear what she's saying. Well, thank you very much for stopping by. Is that our whole thing? Thank you for VidCon.
Talk about Beme. What do you want to know? I'm super sketchy on details. But yeah, with Beme, we're building a whole new production company. It's a whole we're gonna do news shows, but not shows about the news that nobody cares about. We're gonna do fun shows about culture. We're gonna do all kinds of content, and it's all created by people that think more like a YouTuber than think like a TV person.
Right.
And we're making cool technology that enables that content, like a news show, but when we want people's feedback, we use an app to get your feedback instead of having like a bunch of old men talk about their opinions. And we're doing a lot down there. It's just like,
It's
it's
figuring
not
out how
any
all the
one
tools
thing.
work
Like
together.
it was really easy 2 years ago to talk about Beme because we were making a single app. And now we're really trying to do something much, much bigger. It's bigger than me. You know, we have 22 people there. How do you get a job at Beme? Oh, God. I don't know, but we have the best snacks. Is that it? Are we done?
That's it.
Hold on, I just got to try. Is
Where are you
this
headed?
just here for display?
The clam.
It's kind of good.
If you guys haven't checked out, we have Casey's actually on our new fame list. Well, check it out at newfamelist.com. We named you one of our visionaries for Instant just because of the voice
We
you had.
should have done the interview here.
You just
No, this isn't going to work. All right. Guys, thank you for coming
Thank you
out.
very much, you guys.